Hi, my name is Alison Battison. You may remember me from such videos as Are the Rights of Asylum Seekers Worth More Than Nuts? And Las Vegas Fight Night. Links to both these videos are in the comments section below. Human Rights for All is a pro bono law firm dedicated to asylum seekers. We take on complex cases and cases of asylum seekers who have been detained for long periods of time. At the moment, we are particularly focused on ending arbitrary detention in Australia and chipping away at the legal regime that creates arbitrary detention in Australia. I have a small understanding of what it is like to be an asylum seeker. I was in the tsunami in 2004, the Boxing Day tsunami or the Indian Ocean tsunami. As the water rose around myself and my friends, we were trapped in an area that was maybe 4 times as big as this room. We had to make a decision whether to walk for it or wait and see what would happen, considering that most people in tsunamis die in the second wave, which is larger, and we weren't certain if the first or second wave had hit us. We decided to walk. The first body we came to was an Australian. His girlfriend was sitting next to him, having pulled his body out of the water. At that moment, I realised how serious our situation was, as if the rising water and massive environmental damage wasn't enough. And my whole world was turned upside down. It was a first taste of the fear and the confusion that almost all asylum seekers and refugees must feel. It took us 3 days to get back to the capital, Colombo. I remember walking to Galle thinking we were following the correct roads, only to realise that the tsunami had picked up the roads and had moved them. The roads were lined with thousands of bodies. There were boats where boats had no right to be. We relied on the generosity and goodwill of everyday Sri Lankans who came to assist those people in need, and we hitchhiked back to Colombo. We were the people sitting in the back of vans and buses, totally distraught or completely devoid of feeling. Then on the way back to Australia, flying over the Indian Ocean, our plane went into emergency crash landing procedures. So at that point, I learned 2 things. The first is that the Indian Ocean really doesn't like me, and I really don't like the Indian Ocean. The second thing is that I experienced what it must be like to have your world turned upside down, to not know if family and friends are safe, to not understand what's going on, utter confusion. Your government isn't looking after you because it can't or it won't. If I experienced that for 3-4 days and it's left a profound impact on me, then I can only imagine what it's like for asylum seekers who have spent years being persecuted in their home countries and then travel to a country such as Australia, which under international law must offer protection and assistance, only to be detained for years. So as part of that, this is what Human Rights for All fights for. Human Rights for All is run by volunteers who donate their legal time or administrative time. It is run on donations. The current case we are taking on is for Syed Amasi. He doesn't know where he was born, maybe in Africa, maybe in Europe. He has no memories of his family, of his mother, his father, or any relatives. He was homeless in Europe for many, many years. He was taken as a child slave for 2 years before he managed to escape, and eventually found his way to Australia looking for a new life when he was 20, or we think he was 20 because we don't actually know when he was born. Since that date, in January 2010, Syed has been detained in closed environment in Australia. So if you can imagine what you were doing in your 20s, Syed has had none of that. He has been in closed detention. We're going to fight for Syed, and we will keep fighting for Syed. At Human Rights for All, we are fighters, and we are in it for the long term. So if you would like to fight, if you would like to donate to our cause or volunteer, but to be honest, at the moment we are particularly calling for donations, then please click on the link below for the Give Now site, and please help us fight arbitrary detention and fight for SIAD in Australia. Thank you.